Hello and welcome back to another Bad Movie Reviews review, hosted by your two favourite goalies from Down Under. Don't know where that was going.
That wasn't bad.
Ben and Daniel, and we are reviewing none other than the latest film from New Zealand export Taika Waititi, who most famously is obviously probably known for directing the most recent Thor films, one known to be very good and one known to be infamously not. And if you do know or are familiar with his work, directed the exceptional Jojo Rabbit and even Hunt for the Wilder People. But if you don't know, this is loosely, and I put that term lightly, based on a true story and a documentary from 2014. And it is none other than Next Goal Wins, which is about the American Samoan soccer team who lost 31-0 to Aussies.
Did that actually happen?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
that score?
Yeah, that is score. Yes, and it is still to this day the biggest losing margin in any World Cup qualifier or match for that matter. And basically after that, where you have Michael Fassbender, who plays Thomas Rongen, or Rongen, I don't know how to fully pronounce it, but he plays him, and then he obviously coaches the team after that. But yeah. Without further ado, I'd love to know what you think. There is a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
Probably not, but
That's pretty much where I was going to start. Is I actually don't know where to start. And yeah, loosely based on the story, which the first words of the movie is
I wrote it before.
him
It was
saying that
fictional embellishments.
Yeah.
Is how he actually introduced the film himself, Taika.
yeah,
And
pretty
yeah,
much
he
said that
basically
he made
said,
up a lot of things.
yeah, which I don't know how I feel about it, but
Look, I appreciate his honesty at the end of the day, because you're not going. I guess when you're going in, you're like, this is not story accurate, and he's like, hold on a second, just watch the first 20 seconds of this film.
yeah. Whether he's placing it there as you can't take shots at me. Yeah, probably.
Correct. A bit like what was the movie we watched recently where they put a bit of extra sauce on it? Napoleon. And he goes, if you
Ridley Scott openly, goes, I don't care, you went there to live it, so.
Yeah, and like I'm here to make entertainment.
However, this was only like 10 years ago.
Yeah, look, a couple of
22
years
years
difference between it. Look, this film was just a. We talk about these films that are just a great time, and that's kind of what this was. It wasn't special, I think, in any means, or extraordinary by any means, but it was just a great time. It was one you can kind of sit back, have a laugh, but also there's enough of a story there that you could get, like, I guess, emotionally involved or captivated between it. And even some parts that tugged on the heartstrings, which I wasn't expecting out of this. I thought it was going to be a complete piss take, but it was only about a 70-30 split, depending on your view of this film. But yeah, I didn't actually mind some of those serious moments. I felt like it actually brought it down to earth. But you spoke on it about on the way home, and I think you're spot on. It was kind of like, you didn't use the word jarring, but it was kind of jarring, the difference between like his kind of comedic delivery to his serious kind of side of things. And I know you'll touch on that in greater detail than myself. But I actually kind of didn't mind that. It flowed quite well for me, but it was odd, but I did feel like it was his humour. But yeah, look, I don't know where to go from there, but it was just a great time. It was enjoyable, full of laughs. There was no really kind of like standout acting there, except by Michael Fassbender, who I thought delivered his kind of weird, deranged character quite well, as much as you could with a very odd script to support it. But look, he gave it his best crack. Some good supporting ones there, but I don't really have anything to comment on everyone. I didn't think there was anything.
It was very Taika Waititi. Like,
Yeah.
it's if you're not familiar with his earlier work, which is obviously New Zealand based, like Hunt for the Wilder People, which had some returning cast, but like let's put it this way: the hour and 50 minutes or the hour and 40 minutes of the film, let's say probably an hour and 20 of that, you've got 40 Korgs in the film.
Yeah, without doubt.
That's his style in a sense, but yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how that paints the American Samoan people, but if it's accurate, they're quite a hilarious bunch, but also maybe not too serious. But anyway, I guess this was his take of the film, and he did say that it wasn't accurate. So how do I pick on certain intricacies when he's already told me that I shouldn't? But anyway, audio design, hard to comment on. There's nothing really stand out. The ball sounded like it was getting kicked properly, so it sounded all right.
That's probably because it was.
Probably because it was. Score, don't even know if there was one. Obviously, some of the local songs were quite enjoyable to listen to, whether they were accurate to Samoa or New Zealand or something made up in between. I felt like that was quite enjoyable and made it a little bit more down to earth to their culture, which was good. But nothing really stand out for me, but it was just like a good time. Like I'd watch this again for another laugh, but it wouldn't go in my top recommendations for people to watch, that's for sure.
No, there were probably 5 to 10 other films out at the moment now that I'd probably
Probably. But yeah, I don't know.
recommend.
I don't know where to go from here. I'm going to throw it over
It's a
you,
perfect
'cause
dad film. Like I can imagine most dads.
My
enjoy
dad
it.
would love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little bit that I want to touch on, I guess. I am actually a big fan of Taika Waititi. I loved Hunt for the Wilder People, even his early indie New Zealand work. Big fan of Thor Ragnarok. Love and Thunder was atrocious, but and Jojo Rabbit was one of my favourite films of that year. But this film just kind of, I think, in my opinion, leans too much into Taika's weirdness. He has a very distinctive writing style, which can work, but there was certain, I don't know if it comes down to the script, there were certain aspects of the film that I guess really worked for me. There were moments that it's actually quite a serious film in some aspects, and some of the themes that it actually deals with. And I thought the film really did work in those moments, and it really did play into that sort of department, and actually did quite well in that. But then the next scene was obviously just full straight, like 20 straight minutes, potentially full of Taika jokes. And it just kind of didn't work for me in that sense. I would have loved to see. I actually would be really interested to see like a full serious film on this subject matter and see how it stacks up compared to like the comedicness of Taika. I know obviously it's hard to say because obviously wasn't there in the situation to know if they're actually making all these jokes or whether they're full serious. But so it's hard to comment on whether it's accurate. As I said, I'll take his word from it that it's a fictional embellishment that maybe it wasn't, and he's obviously just tried to make like because it is a like when you think about it, it is quite a funny story of obviously this American Samoan team, but the themes that it deals with. There's a certain scene towards the end with Michael Fassbender, and I will comment on Fassbender. I thought was great in the film. He definitely has great comedic timing, and there is one scene towards the end which was actually quite emotional and did tug on the heartstrings. And I was thinking at the time, I was like, this is a really, really great scene. And that the last 15 minutes I actually really got around. And there are some really great scenes. And even, I guess, probably the second main character of the film, Jaya, was also, who's played by Kaimana, was also quite good. And Jaya's story was interesting. And I thought dealt with care in a sense. But there's a lot of like serious subject matters in it. And then it's just kind of... like next scene, like it's just a comedic moment, which I think with Jojo Rabbit and with Taika, I would like it in very much little maybe like small quips or remarks that are like quite sharp rather than making the whole scene a joke.
Yeah.
Making little comments here and there, which might make lighthearted of a situation, but it kind of, I think took away from the seriousness of the film in that sort of aspect. But no, like as you said, like, do I think it's a good film? I think it's fine. I don't think it's a great film. I don't think it's awful. Did I enjoy it? Yeah,
definitely.
I did enjoy it. I had good fun. I did think there were some funny moments. I don't think it's the worst thing Fassbender starred in. I don't think it's the worst thing Waititi's either made. But I don't know. I can feel, and I'm sure you might agree with me, I can feel in this film that there potentially was something like actually really fantastic. And I don't know whether that's just the script, because I thought the cast all across the board were great, but it's at the end of the day, they're obviously reading what is written on this script. Like, I thought the direction was fine. Like, I mean, we're talking about an Academy Award winning writer here. He won the best screenplay for Jojo Rabbit. So he obviously knows how to write a script, and he obviously knows what he's doing. But I just Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would have potentially preferred the film coming from maybe someone else, whether it be a full serious tone with comedic moments. Because I've seen serious films, and even you have this year, which like are funny. I mean, fuck, there was one of the funniest scenes in for the whole year for me was in Killers of the Flower Moon when the guy's talking to the financial advisor about the kids he's just adopted, and the guy just goes, "This sounds like you're wanting to kill these kids," and he goes, "Well, not if I'm going to get the money for it." Like, it's a full serious, not if I'm not going to get. It's a full serious moment, but I was like gobsmacked. I was laughing like, and it's one of those things where it's like,
It's a shock
like
laugh.
it's a shock
Yeah,
laugh.
it's a shock laugh.
But it's like you can do serious with laugh, whereas this kind of whole film did feel like a joke, and I would actually be very intrigued to see what Thomas Rongan or the actual cast of the film potentially think of it. Like the real life people, what they actually think of it. I would be really intrigued because it's hard for me to comment because I'm not Thomas Rongan, I'm not American Samoan, so I don't know how it's obviously represented my culture or that. But I would be intrigued to see how they feel about it, whether they like, because as I said, I can't really comment on that. But it did just feel overall like a big joke, and in the way that they are portrayed in this film as well. This is a very, like, they love their soccer. Like, they're working multiple jobs to play. They love it. Like, they love it as a game. And then they portrayed the whole situation, or he portrayed the whole situation as a bit of a joke. So it's just intriguing to me, to be honest. I really, but as I said, I can't really con it for that just because I'm not a first person in that situation where I can go, this upset me or this did that, because it didn't. But
It's a hard one, especially since he's like, I made this up. Like, that's the part that, like, I keep throwing back to when I'm trying to find criticisms. He's like, I took my own story. I just took something that happened and did my own thing.
You know what? I respect that.
Yeah.
The only thing is, obviously, you're dealing with real life people and real life situations. Yeah. I mean, we're dealing with a person who, like, the person loves this game and he lost his daughter in a car crash.
Yeah.
Like he's probably still hurting to this day from that. And you're dealing with obviously like the first transgender athlete to play in a World Cup game. Like, when you're dealing with real life people and real life situations, I imagine you obviously got to deal with it with a different perspective and obviously a bit of like, not light-heartedness, but like you got to deal it with a bit of respect, which I don't think he didn't, but it's just hard to comment on how they were portrayed or anything like that, just because. Yeah, like that, you know, that might be like for Jai's character. She might love soccer like that. You know, she's obviously working at, I think it said she was working at FIFA for an ambassador for equality. So like she's done extremely well for herself. So like she's obviously looks at this with such seriousness. Like that's her career, that's her life. So it's just like, and then obviously the film did kind of feel like it was portrayed as a whole joke and their laughing matter. So it's like, but as I said, it is hard for me to comment on that because I'm not within the situation. It's just interesting how it was dealt with, in my opinion. But I think it's a good time. I think if you take that aspect side of it, there is laughs to be had. There is good performances here. And I think it is definitely a good time. And as I said, I'd recommend this to my dad, and he'll probably piss himself laughing for an hour and 50 minutes. Same. Like it does its job. It's entertaining. It's funny. There's good performances. So I would recommend watching it just because like it is a good time. But you know, when you've got films like, I mean, I loved Saltburn, Boy and the Heron. When you do have films like these out in the cinema, it is hard to say run out and see this just because there's better art.
But until it's showing on Disney Plus.
Which might not be long because we were at an early screening and there was only 4 people in a cinema of 230. So
straight to VOD.
Potentially. But no, if you have seen it, which I'm sure, I know it's been showing at film festivals, but I'm not sure if it's out in the States. But if you have seen it, I would love to know what other people think and if you do enjoy it. But other than that, subscribe. We will be back later this week for a review of potentially Poor Things, Wonka. There's a lot coming out, a lot of good things coming out. So comment, like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.